need for an office assistant, being Sarah Jane Trent, to attend, having had Mr. O'Sullivan here for 2 days, 2 consecutive days. I'm not sure why Mr. Adams has failed to pitch so far, but hopefully he could be moved. And then finally, 2 more. One, we've done our questions. And finally, should we be scheduling, this is still in the works, as it were, because we have not yet been granted an extension. I know there was a huge reluctance to even do the 2 extensions we'd already asked for, or 3, I think. So that would have to be expedited before we can actually confirm the further interviews. Thank you, Chair. We're done.
Thank you so much. The EFF.
Thank you, Chairperson. We really want to thank the members of this committee who spoke very strongly about the appearance of Paul O'Sullivan. It is disingenuous to even want to include the speaker amongst the people who must be congratulated after her attempt to want to shield Paul O'Sullivan. In between her letter and the appearance of Paul O'Sullivan, nothing significantly happened which came from Speaker's office. Absolutely nothing. So it is not shocking that it comes from those who are actually defending that letter through the social media, writing paragraphs and paragraphs and alleging that people can't read because they think they are better off than other people or ordinary people of this country because they merely occupy a seat in parliament which they may not occupy in the next election. So we are very happy that through the prayers of members of this committee who are not part of any conspiracy, who have never benefited from Paul O'Sullivan's shenanigans, who have never benefited from any process that seeks to undermine the criminal justice system, have done the right thing and became loyal to the oath they've taken as members of parliament, that they will serve the people of South Africa and they will protect the integrity and the standing of parliament, which is the primary responsibility of a speaker. But for a speaker to participate in a process that seeks to undermine the authority of this parliament, she must be ashamed and she'll go down as being a speaker that collapsed the integrity of parliament in defense of potential criminals who wanted to undermine this parliament. And we said, not under our watch, never. And it happened exactly as we said, that we are not going to allow this nonsensical thing to happen under our watch as members of parliament. So you must be proud as members of this committee for having not associated with criminality and for being loyal to your own oath of office that you have taken as members of parliament. And shame on those who tried to justify why people who have captured our criminal justice system were refusing and ridiculing and undermining this parliament. That's why Paul O'Sullivan has got the guts to say some members will not ask him questions because he wants to be asked questions by his friends. I had an interview tomorrow with 702 10 o'clock with Clement Manyatela. I cancelled it. I'm coming there. And there is nothing culturally, Chairperson, which is going to stop me from coming there. I'm coming to attend to a person who has been running this country and running amok in this country. So finally, South Africans should be proud that they still have men and women of integrity in parliament who stands with the truth and nothing else but the truth. Chair, we are going to propose the extension of this committee for as long as there is an outstanding concrete issues that will bring us to the bottom of the capture of this criminal justice system. We're not going to be told here that we can't be postponing, open-ended. Who said once an open-ended? There's no open-ended. Our term of office ends after 5 years. It's not open-ended. It's 5 years. So whatever is going to take us to bring back the integrity of our criminal justice system, we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that we execute this responsibility without being blackmailed of a time frame and open-ended. So we are not going to be blackmailed. We support that this committee must be postponed and must be extended, and the critical people who must be called, they need to be called. There is no one who's asking for evidence or even prima facie evidence. Honorable Skosana, if you want Judge Luhodi, you put the name down and say, I want Judge Luhodi to appear because of the following issues. Why did he give? Then we debate that. We shouldn't want to mud the whole thing by creating an impression that there are people who want certain people not to appear. If Judge Luhodi must appear, we put the name Judge Luhodi and motivate. I put General Vuma. I said, we left General Vuma and he played a very critical role, and especially on PPEs. Some members will not be impressed with that, especially the PPEs. The PPEs. So we gave reasons why General Vuma must appear, and the committee agreed. There shouldn't be an impression that we are opposed to calling any judge or any prosecutor. We put a name and we say the things that we think need to be canvassed with this particular potential witness, and if that is going to help us, we'll support it without any doubt. Our terms of reference include the judiciary. Our terms of reference include the prosecuting authority. So if there are people in that space, because we have not canvassed those two spaces sufficiently, if there are people in that space who will help us to come to proper conclusion as this committee, let their names be put down, and then an engagement starts from there, and we come to a conclusion if indeed they must come or they must not come. We submitted the questions to the president the same day when we're given a time frame of before 4:30, something like that. We've already submitted our questions, Chairperson, and we fully support that this committee should go and ask for extension. There's an honorable member who spoke about the issue of Mondays. Mondays are very difficult, comrades. Honorable members, you should know that anyone, including the legal advisors and the parliament staff, as you suggest days, please bear in mind that Mondays are very difficult. In as much as we sit in that parliament, we've got a constituency to serve as well. We cannot be consumed by this responsibility and neglect other responsibilities that we have as members of parliament and as political leaders in our own right. So it's going to become a bit tricky there. You might agree to it and only to find that you do not have members on that Monday because they've got other pressing organizational matters and constituency matters. So, Chair, I am not agreeing with that suggestion of Mondays. It's not going to be easy. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you so much. Can I take Honorable Matthys?
Thank you, Chair. Just to follow up on President, the issue on Sarah Jane. It's interesting that the senior counsel would even bring up the fact that we said we were bringing her in because in the absence of O'Sullivan. It was in addition to her name. She's been charged, or she was charged for impersonating an IPED officer. In addition, she's been in and out of the IPED offices, so she must come here. There's no reason for her not to appear, and she can't be appearing on the same day. as General Mkhwanazi as well. So we need to make sure that is properly scheduled. And also, she will assist in us picking up any inconsistencies between her and Paul O'Sullivan as well in that regard. And then on the issue of the public participation, we were supposed to long have finished public participation, a chair. So can we get a report on what happened? Because now we have to reschedule public participation. We just get random reports in meetings that some who we had approved for public participation have withdrawn. So can we get like a detailed report on each person that we agreed to and what was the outcome and why the person has withdrawn? In fact, they should even write to us and explain to us, those that have withdrawn, why they have withdrawn, because it looks like it's been very clumsy on how we have processed the public participation. And on the, also just on Paul O'Sullivan, his sworn affidavit to us, to the ad hoc committee, and also that he was appearing here today, has been in public space before we have even known. So can we get some clarity on how did that happen? Did our senior counsel advise him that his sworn affidavit is not to be circulated in public until it's before us and a committee? Even the confirmation of the date, what engagements exactly did senior counsel have with him that his information is already out there in the public domain without us as committee members knowing about it? And I don't imagine any of the members of parliament who are in the WhatsApp group would have went and leaked that information. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Sauls.
Honorable Chair, I think maybe I should start with the issue of Mr. Paul O'Sullivan and Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi and the Speaker's emphasis on administrative fairness. Because I hear the MKP and Honorable Malema from the EFF playing opposition politics here with this issue. And it's important that the public is clear. In our view, we celebrate the action that the Speaker of Parliament took in upholding parliamentary integrity. Why do we view it in that way? It is the Speaker's responsibility to close herself up from the noise, knowing that what was going on outside, political noise, understanding all those dynamics and still maintaining parliamentary integrity is what she should be celebrated for. She could have participated as well, but she chose to emphasize administrative fairness. Let's be transparent. Was she correct to ask, was all remedial mechanisms exhausted before the last resort of subpoena? She has to make sure of that. It's her responsibility of this as a speaker to do so. Our terms of reference gave two options: physical and virtual. It is us as the PA who continuously said we must show fairness, and we must say if we're going to allow others to do virtual, then we must allow Paul O'Sullivan to do virtual. Luckily for us, we've been consistent in demanding physical presence, and we emphasize that. But in our terms of reference, that option was there. So the Speaker was saying, in our understanding, you have that in your terms of reference. They're willing to come, so they're not refusing to come. What would the subpoena be for? The subpoena will be to summons them to appear. They're not refusing to appear. Now, if you want the subpoena to be specifically appear in person, then satisfy the administrative requirements for why you would decline virtual appearance over physical appearance. Before a legal instrument is used that would cost time, that would cost money for the speaker to have looked at all those elements and say she will uphold parliamentary integrity by saying before I make this decision, so that parliament doesn't get embarrassed in court, make sure you as the committee have satisfied all remedial mechanisms so that when we go, our application is watertight. Then when it came back, all we had to do was ask ourselves, did we fulfill all those requirements? If so, we then tell the speaker, we've done everything now, do it. But because she took that approach, despite political noise, we should celebrate her for focusing on procedure and administrative fairness. Because of her wisdom, whichever way it is, whatever made Paulo Solomon decide now he's going to come in person, it's neither here nor there. Whoever wants to take glory for that can take glory for it. But don't, whilst take glory for it, make it look like the speaker was trying to protect, as Honorable Malema say, criminals or potential criminals, alleged criminals. We cannot do that to the speaker whilst ignoring that all she did was do her work. This is not a choice of personalities. Let's look at the facts. Let's look at, did she follow procedures? She did. Whatever reason it is now that Paul O'Sullivan is coming, whoever wants to take glory for that, take it. But not in the same breath diminish the integrity of Parliament that was upheld by the face of Parliament. That is firstly our submission on the issue of the Speaker. We celebrate her for standing up for parliamentary integrity and not just subpoena because political noise calls for it. We support the extension, Chair. We want to emphasize once again that in questioning, you know that we've been consistent in asking for more time so that we question. So I would want to ask that we consider that as we deal with the program and the extension, that we spend time questioning, especially with key witnesses. Then I'd like to propose on the program, 5 and 6th of March, I propose that we have the 5th for General Masimula, the entire 5th, and that General Mkhwanazi is obviously should be a witness to close it all up, but also we dedicate an entire day for General Mkhwanazi. So my proposal is just on that switch at the end of the program. Thank you, Chair.
James?
Thank you, Chair. I've been listening to all my colleagues here this morning and I'm asking myself, who are we actually prioritizing here? Are we prioritizing and pushing our own political parties and agendas, or are we prioritizing South Africans? All these extensions, the one thing that we're trying to fix here, all of these extensions, truth be told, to the person watching and looking in after all these allegations and all this craziness that they are watching, further erodes public trust. And to them, it comes across as a delay tactic. At this point, what do we have to give the public after several extensions and after months of sitting? And what more do we want to hear? Especially, we've been saying this as Action SA, in the absence of a forensic expert to test the weight of all these accusations and people that come and implicate other people. All we do all the time, the minute a name gets dropped, we say, no, we must call that person, maybe we can hear more. But how do we actually test this? This means, are we really going to sit here for the next 5 years? Every time we extend, a need arises to take testimony from an additional implicated person. How many of these witnesses, why can't some of these people actually be filtered through to the portfolio committees? Because they also have a purpose. They're also there to conduct oversight over these departments. We cannot possibly sit here for 5 years and expect South Africans to be okay without even presenting them or giving them an interim report and saying, thus far, this is our findings. How much longer are we going to sit here? I think what we have right now, in the beginning, we said we should have had a way of identifying the key role players here and actually just take a decision there. We don't have to hear. The rot remains the rot. Everyone is going to, the rot is deep. And if we want to hear from every South African and every person that has a contribution to make, unfortunately, South Africans are going to be suffering because they're never going to have an end. They're never going to have a tangible outcome if this is going to be our approach. So also, and on the extension, we've had the second extension, and then we've had instances, and I'm not sure who to blame, obviously the Secretariat for this, where on a specific day we have 6 people scheduled to appear before us. We would then just have 2 instead of the 6, where we were told we'll take an hour per person, and we'll spend the entire day listening and questioning and taking testimony just from 2 people. So I'm not sure how that works. Are we now just using up and taking up time just for the sake of sitting there? Also, on Paul O'Sullivan, yes, I'm happy that finally he's here, but he's also made it clear that he won't take questions from, I think it was Action SA, MK, and EFF. How will this be dealt with? Tomorrow, if he comes, he says, no, I've made it clear, I've put it out there, I will not be answering questions. How are we going to deal with this? About Mistrent, this is not about a person, right? The committee has seen there was evidence in terms of her involvement that was actually brought to the committee, and I actually shared that. This is about the reforms and the submissions that will strengthen and prohibit such from happening again. It's about the committee acting. We can't be taking people every week, every time someone gets mentioned, we want to know, and then we sit there and we wonder, who's telling the truth? Is it this one or the one that appeared before Miss Sarah Jane? So I don't think that there's even a need to call her. At this point, we need to put an end to all these delays, and the very people that we are serving here, those are the people that we must think, you know what, how do we get back to them without saying we're going to extend, because it's coming across as if though we don't want to get back to the public. At all times, we should take our cue from the public. What is the climate out there? Time is running out, and the public is extremely impatient. We need to prioritize them. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Andile and Advocate Arendse, would you like to respond to some of the questions that have been posed by members here before I summarize?
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Am I audible, Chair?
Yes, we can hear you loudly.
Thanks, Chair. Now, Chairperson, all I wanted to say is that I think it's very unfair, Chairperson, to then say that legal services must give assurances regarding the scheduling of witnesses, because the names, Chair, which have been scheduled come from members, not from legal services. So I just wanted to correct that, Chairperson, that this is a committee led by members. We listen, Chairperson, to what you say we must do, and we do exactly that. So Chairperson, the resolution of that does not lie with us, Chair. With respect, the committee must lead us in that regard. Thanks very much.
Advocate Arendse.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members. The only comment I have is that as far as the evidence leaders are concerned and in our consultations with Mr. O'Sullivan, which have been extensive, he's appearing tomorrow to answer questions from the evidence leaders and from honourable members of the committee. Thank you.
Nicolette van Zyl.
Sorry, Chair, and then just in relation to the fact that it now appears that the in-person appearance of Mr. O'Sullivan has been leaked to the press. I communicated that he would be appearing in person last week in confidence. I think on Thursday, when we last sat, you indicated that you would now be meeting members of the Honourable Committee offline, and also to tell them for the reason that if and when we make the statement and the annexes, which is substantial, available on SharePoint to the honourable members, they would obviously ask, now why are you sending this to us when we've made it clear that we are not going to hear him online? In that event, it was agreed with Mr. O'Sullivan that members of this committee must know that he's appearing on Tuesday, and that was the background to this matter. I have got absolutely no idea who would have conveyed this to the media, because Mr. O'Sullivan had called me, I think it was yesterday, to say that he's been, as he put it, inundated with requests to confirm that he was appearing on Tuesday. Thank you.
Nicolette. Romano.
Chair, maybe from my side, just to say that I saw the dates that are proposed there. Maybe the committee should just agree on the witnesses that we are going to call. But I've got a feeling that some of the days they might not be realistic, because as we sit right now, we do not have an extension. We still have to write and request that. I don't know when the House will be sitting to process it. So I just thought maybe I should say that, just in case members at some point they find that on the 23rd we are not meeting as expected. Thank you, Chair.
There has been a clarity-seeking question on public participation.
Oh, okay, Chair. With regards to public participation, if you remember, we're supposed to have gun-free South Africa. Gun-free South Africa could not come because the dates that were given to them clashed with a long-standing meeting that they had, I think, with their funders. So for that reason, they couldn't come, and they indicate that if the committee still has a slot, they are available to come. And then we had Dr. Gordon Rawls, who was also scheduled to appear. Dr. Gordon Rawls put out He says for safety considerations, he decided that he would not be appearing before the committee. And then we've got Mr. Krishna Chetty that Honorable Skosana raised. We contacted Mr. Chetty via email and the cell number that he provided. And there was no response forthcoming from him. As Honorable Skosana indicated last week, he shared Mr. Chetty's number with me and I contacted him and he indicated that he is available. So all that is left is for us, if the committee agrees to listen to further witnesses, then all that is left is for us to get a suitable date for him to appear before the committee. The same would apply to Mr. Abel Mapo. He also, the number that is on his submission, when I tried to call him, it kept saying that the subscriber is not available. Maybe just one more issue, Chair, which I don't know if I should be raising, but maybe I should, because it happened last week that we had a witness before the committee who was not cleared to come and address the committee. And the concern was raised that as a secretariat, we had not properly vetted witnesses. But when we look at the documents presented by Mr. Chetty and Mr. Mapo, the two of them seem to be facing criminal cases, pending criminal cases, which I thought maybe as the support team, we need to have another discussion on those two. Because we do not want a situation wherein we invite witnesses before the committee and when they come, you ask them questions and they say to the committee, we are not able to respond to the questions because the cases are still pending in court. But we commit to look at those issues, those two issues, and I think we should be able to update the committee tomorrow morning. I'm not sure of any other witness who has not been called. Safe to say that, Chairperson, if you remember, we had a meeting wherein there were witnesses that we included because one of them, for instance, had not seen the advert. And through honorable source, they requested to be included on the list. There's another one who presented a medical certificate and we also included him. And I must say that, since then, Chair, we have people who have been writing as well, who, requesting that they want to be included. I think the committee will at some point have to discuss that as well. I think that's all that I can say at this stage. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. You will compile a list of all those witnesses to the attention of the committee for decision on those matters. Thank you so much, honorable members, for your inputs, and the legal team of Parliament and our evidence leaders. We have come to the end of the discussions of the two items that were being rotated. On the second item, which is item number 3 on the agenda, we still allow members chance to submit their questions by Thursday this week. That will be the last day for all the questions that must be forwarded by members arising from the proceedings that happened previously. And then number 2 is that the name of Sarah Jane Trent was agreed to by the committee. not as a proxy to Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, but as a witness that must appear before the committee. And it will be very wrong to treat female citizens of this country as if they were appendages of male citizens. She has a right as a citizen to appear before the committee. She must appear and speak for herself in those IPIT operations or activities where she would have been involved. So her name stays as a witness, and she must be afforded opportunity to come and appear and state her case. Mr. Paul O'Sullivan is coming tomorrow. I think what we just have to do, the long and short of it, honorable members, and I have always said that it is not the brilliance of individual players in a team that win games, but it's the quality of interactions in a team that makes us a strong team and a winning team. The advices of the speaker were presented before our meeting, and the meeting agreed to those advices. And I think let's bury the matter as such and agree that we are stepping ahead, we are moving forward. Mr. Paul O'Sullivan is coming here tomorrow. There are principles that are stated in our constitution, principles stated in common law, and natural justice principles that we all know and are aware of. And as leadership, let's uphold those principles. The proposal on the timetable has been presented here generally or overwhelmingly. There is an agreement that there should be an extension, which we will write to the office of the speaker for request for extension, and then we will include those witnesses that have been proposed. I hear members say it may be problematic to schedule certain days on the program. It's something that the team will have to go back and look at how it revises the timetable to allow all witnesses to be part, and including those other witnesses that may not be featuring now. I know last week there was that witness from SSA, which we must also make a follow-up with, so that he is part of the proceedings. The public participation witnesses that are appearing on this program or the proposed timetable are the witnesses that emanate from a committee decision on a motion that was tabled by Honorable Sauls in the meeting, and the committee accepted that motion. Those names are there, and they have been tagged as a public participation. So, but if there is any other witness who would have been left out, like Honorable Skosana has said, the Secretariat says we will go out in line with what Honorable Matthews has said, give you a report on who has come and who has not come, and what are the reasons for each of them not coming, and those that have not come, we will also make them to do that in writing to the committee that we have not been able to come because of the following reasons. So that we mustn't come and have a situation where somebody says, I wanted to come, but I was prevented, and then it becomes one's word against another. But if we have a written explanation it helps us to do our business with ease. So, like we did, I'm going to advise you, Chief Whip, again, advise and also plead with you that if you remember the last time when we sought the extension, you were able to convene a Chief Whips forum. And I think let's continue with this line of persuasion where you can convene that meeting and discuss. I mean, some of the issues I don't think we need to discuss them here. I very much hold you in high regard as leaders of political parties, that you can meet between yourselves and discuss these matters and help the committee to do its work. We don't doubt your commitment. We know that all of you have interest in matters that affect and afflict the people of South Africa. You can go to that meeting and discuss. And when we write to the speaker, we incorporate your suggestion where you will be advising the speaker accordingly to say, this is what we think is a desirable deadline for the committee. We have met, we have discussed, we have shown each other this and that, and we are satisfied that with this deadline, Speaker, we shall have done our work. I think it's a matter which I'm going to request very humbly and with due respect that you go as the leadership of the political parties and discuss this matter and advise the Speaker accordingly. And to conclude this matter, I want to agree with Honorable James that members, let's move towards proposing interventions that can help us to restore the criminal justice system in this country. South Africans are suffering every day. South Africans no longer know where to go with the problems they face. Since we started with our work, there have been cases where people were murdered. There have been so many revelations, witnesses that have been killed. It just shows the extent to which people are waiting very, very urgently for us to come back with a report and say, these are the interventions which we are now tabling before Parliament as the highest locus of power in the Republic to ensure that these resolutions are implemented and our people are served better. So I feel that she's justified to make that statement to say the committee cannot run forever. There must be a point where the committee makes its proposals and those proposals are implemented for the safety and security of our citizens. So with that, we are going to conclude those items and I'm going to recuse Advocate Arendse as we deal with the last item on the agenda, which is the letter that has been written by the South African National People's Civic Organization.
Well, thank you, honourable members. Could I also ask that Advocate Mkhwanazi be excused?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Andile, I'm going to request you, because we come from a long debate, I'm going to request you to once again restate those recommendations that you are making for the committee to consider on the letter.
No, Chairperson, thanks, Chairperson, and honorable members, and thanks to my colleagues as well. So Chairperson, what I was merely saying, I was merely giving our attitude as the legal team, Chairperson, to the letter which has been sent to the Speaker, which of course the committee is expected to deliberate on it. And I think, Chairperson, I was merely saying that our view is that in order for the committee to avoid a situation where it must deal with an avalanche of these letters from the public going forward, we ask the committee to give comfort to South Africans that the process which the committee is embarking on via this inquiry is a member-led one. It's led by members of parliament. The evidence leader simply leads evidence. It is only the committee that makes a determination or that decides what to do with the evidence. Moreover, Chairperson was saying the committee also collects this evidence on its own via members' questions to witnesses. And I think to sum up, Chairperson was saying that our people must find comfort in knowing that this process is led by none other than their MPs, and to the extent that there are people like us and evidence leaders who are assisting the committee, our role is limited to that assistance and not to making determinations or decisions on behalf of the committee. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Andile. Can I then rotate with the members and hear if they agree with those recommendations that will inform the response of the Speaker to the letter by SAPCO, the African National Congress?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, Chairperson. I think we accept the recommendations. There's not much in the letter, to go by. It makes accusations against the evidence leader, but provides no information against which we can test those accusations. So I do agree with the recommendation that Bonani has proposed. I don't think we have anything more to add on the letter, Chair. Unless, the claims that are made are substantiated, it will be very difficult for us to engage on it. Thank you, Chair.
MKP. The MKP.
Thank you, Chair. I think we're still deliberating on this matter, Chair. Can we come back after a few political parties?
Chair?
Yeah, no.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Chair. No, we're here. Apologies, I've got some troubles with network here. No, Chair, ours is to say we don't undermine concerns which are raised by members of the public. It is within their right to do so. So there's absolutely nothing wrong to raise reservations when they've detected some during the work of evidence leader, because this is the people's parliament. The evidence leader is going to be paid from the taxpayers' money. So we can't confine this to parliament when there's a need for the evidence leader. Reservations of the members of the public, you must do so without any attempt to be defensive. Chair, it's an open secret that as the MK party we've been having, we had our own reservations about the evidence leader. We shared them with members of this committee. We also shared them on the meeting, but we always subject ourselves to the views of the majority. And we trust that the wisdom of members of this committee is always prevailing. Where the evidence leader is seen to be making mistakes, some members intervene. Maybe sometimes we overlook some of the mistakes committed, but we hear what the public is saying. We do want to sympathize with their reservations, but they must also have trust in us as members of the committee, because the reality now dictates that we must proceed with the evidence leader despite those reservations which have been raised, and those reservations which we have
as members of the ad hoc committee, because we're towards the finishing line. So we are saying, in as much as we sympathize with these reservations, but we are faced with this reality that now we're towards the end of our work. So the only task we're left with now is a task of ensuring that as SOPA members in this committee, we guide the process and we protect the process to be always impartial and objective. That is what we can say as the MK party. Thank you very much.
The DA.
Thank you, Chair. Just apologies for earlier for having had to join a little bit later. Chair, we think that we're already close to 90% through the entire process. So changing the evidence leader now wouldn't, I don't think it would be necessary, as we've discussed it. And the evidence leader hasn't in any way, in my opinion, influenced anyone unduly. So he's been fair in that regard, and for that reason, we don't think it's necessary to change now. Thank you, Chair.
The EFF.
Thank you, Chair. We support the recommendations by our Parliament Legal Counsel. But having said that, we do note that since our very first meeting with Senior Counsel, the lead evidence leader, we have raised our concerns regarding his engagements with witnesses. However, we do know that as members of Parliament, we have managed to maintain our independence. It has been very frustrating for us. Sometimes we've had to stay in proceedings much longer than we needed to because the evidence leader is not leading evidence. He generally, and it's probably a bit of a stretch if I say generally, but there's been times where he's made many political statements and then he asked for concurrence from witnesses, and that's not leading evidence. He comes and he reports to us that he spoke to witnesses outside and he's told them what he's going to, what questions he's going to raise with them that is not even in the statement. And those are things that should be done during consultation if there's something that needs to come in. But these are things that we've raised. We'll also like to, so it's also something that the public has picked up on. I mean, our very first meeting, we had to adjourn for a couple hours to go and fix up the witness statement of our very first witness. So those things have not obviously gone unnoticed in the public, but we are too far in the process at the moment. It's been frustrating, but we will continue pushing through, and we concur with the report that the legal counsel has presented on what our position can be, but having noted our frustrations as well. Thank you, Chair.
The Patriotic Alliance.
We are covered, Chair.
XNSA.
Covered, Chair.
Thank you so much, honorable members. We have come to the discussion of this item, and also it being the last item of this meeting. We will incorporate those inputs that members have made to the recommend on top of the recommendations that Andile has presented in this meeting, that it is not prudent at this stage that the recommendation that was made by that organization that the evidence leader must be removed is not a prudent recommendation in terms of the understanding of the committee. That a lot of work has been done already, and the committee is moving towards concluding its proceedings. But however, the grievances that have been raised are not taken for granted. All of us are human beings. We will keep on working very hard to improve and to be visibly seen serving our people better. Honorable members, I want to thank you so much.
Chair.
Just before you close, if you allow me.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Chair, I don't want to come back again next Monday and talk about this issue of public participation. The Secretariat must do the right thing. They should not pick and choose. Those they've chosen before they've agreed upon, they must come before us. The chatting issue, I don't want to get another email again to say it's been ignored here or by us. I thank you.
Yeah, no, Chetty must not talk to you alone. If there are frustrations with the Secretariat, he can also talk to me as the chairperson, so that it does not become your matter, it becomes a matter of the committee. But we have summarized that matter to say the Secretariat will go and compile that list and come back and report on the whereabouts of each of the witnesses or the applicants that we have identified to come and appear before us. Thank you so much. Honorable members, it's now 13:23. I'm calling off the meeting. Good luck. We will meet tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Thank you so much.